Some years ago, I began to see that there were some pieces of the puzzle that I was trying to put together that came together for me. And that's the relationship between three elements. One is the purpose of an organization. The second is the brand of an organization. And the third is the culture of an organization. And these three pieces seem to interact for me. One is that the purpose, why does the organization exist, needed to infuse the identity of the organization. That is how it purported to be to others, what we in marketing terms might call its brand, its outward-facing identity. At the same time, that related to the inward reality of the organization, the culture of the place. And on these three elements, purpose and brand and culture, they interplayed with each other in the following kinds of ways, which was brands increasingly are being forced to adopt a social impact because powerful purpose in a brand is expressed in two essential elements. One is that the organization cares deeply about doing that, its own best sense of itself. And secondly, that it's about and impacts a social tension. That's what makes the brand relevant. And increasingly, the source of that brand identity was not just the declared marketing purposes or aim, but was actually the social license that was being granted to the organization or the business that it could operate in this sphere. And so the brand, historically a kind of marketing identity, was being more and more anchored in why the organization existed. So we saw, for example, emerging in things like IBM's brand. Smarter Planets is a good illustration of a brand being embedded in a sense of purpose for what it's trying to achieve. But the demand for authenticity that said, if you purport to be something, a brand, that you really aren't, in reality, inside the organization, the culture of the place, that demand said there had to be an essential relationship between that which you declare to be true about yourself, your brand, and that which really was true about yourself, the purpose. And so on the other axis of this little triangle is the relationship between the brand and purpose, which has a demand in the culture that it be authentic. You could not say you were one thing and turn out to be something else. You get called out. And then the third element, which is the relationship between the purpose and the culture of the organization, was that employees increasingly, particularly millennials, wanted to show up for work to do things that were meaningful. And so the aspiration of the organization, the embedded desire of the people working there, was to do something meaningful. And that was expressed in purpose. And so these three elements of the purpose of the organization related and expressed externally in its brand, relating internally in the desire of the people in the organization, embedded in the culture, was a relationship that I realized had to be, in a sense, coherent. And so these pieces, purpose, brand, and culture, interplayed with each other, and that a healthy organization could reconcile why it existed with how it expressed itself externally in its marketplace and how it really was internally. And I think the movement of any company towards being healthy is, in a sense, the reconciling of those three elements together and the expression of a brand that is meaningful both internally, expressed in its culture, and externally in terms of its marketplace. And both those two things, brand and culture, anchored in a reason to exist that is not simply economic rationalism, that is not simply profit maximizing. It actually has to be about some bigger ding in the universe, and that's what interconnected these three components.